Hello everyone, welcome to the Joy Business Report. Coming up this morning, New World Bank report ranks Ghana among top 10 countries in the world with highest food inflation rate. Also, 8 banks accounted for 67% of the banking industry exposure to the domestic debt exchange program, plus Social Security and National Insurance Trust NIT to participate in second DDEP, describing it as favorable. Details coming up. Welcome everyone and to our friends listening from Koforidua on KTU Radio. First up, Ghana's high food inflation rate in June has pushed it into the top 10 countries in the world with record levels. Here's George Rafael with more from the latest World Bank Food Security Report.
The country's food inflation rate of 54% in June this year makes Ghana the number 8th in the world with the highest food inflation rate, coming after countries like Egypt and Sierra Leone. Venezuela's rate of 414% makes it the country with the highest food inflation rate in the world. Ghana's high inflation rate, according to the Statistical Service, has been influenced by supply challenges in the country and the high cost of imports, which has been influenced by the city's depreciation against the US dollar. However, there are projections that things could decline from next month when the harvest season approaches. The World Bank report showed that food inflation was high mostly in low and middle income countries. However, it warned that Russia's withdrawal from the Black Sea Initiative poses a major risk to grain supplies in the world, as well as India's decision to ban rice exports. This could push prices up again on the local markets, including countries like Ghana.
George, with that report, the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, NIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tenkwang, has indicated that the trust is willing to participate in the second round of the domestic debt exchange program. According to him, the terms of the offer are more favorable than the initial DDEP, hence the decision to subscribe. He was speaking at the 2023 edition of the Employers' Breakfast meeting.
Government has tabled a new offer for pension funds that are holding government bonds. The terms of the offer certainly are better than, I think, the first one that was floated. We do hold some government paper. I think it's about a little less than 1 billion Ghana cedis of government paper. We will look at it and then we will subscribe and make sure that we have enough liquidity to be able to pay our immediate benefits when they come due.
You heard Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, Dr. John Ofori-Tenkwang. 8 banks accounted for 67% of the banking industry exposure to the domestic debt exchange program. This confirms a Joy Business story in November last year that 8 banks were highly exposed to the government of Ghana bonds. According to the 2023 Ghana Banking Survey by Accounting Professionals, PwC, 72% of the impairment charges recorded in 2022 were linked to these banks. There's more in this report.
GCB, Consolidated Bank Ghana, EcoBank Ghana, and ABSA recorded the highest impairment charges of 1.81 billion, 1.77 billion, 1.62 billion, and 1.61 billion cedis respectively. The banks most impacted by impairment charge as a proportion of their investment securities portfolio were Cal Bank, Prudential Bank, Zenith Bank, and First National Bank. With the terms for the restructure of dollar-denominated securities yet to be finalized, the report said it will be interesting to assess the adequacy of the credit losses estimated by banks once the terms are finalized for exchange. The domestic debt exchange program, coupled with the downgrade of the government of Ghana's credit rating by rating agencies, swung the industry into an unprecedented loss. This resulted in the erosion of the industry's asset base by 15.7 billion cedis through the recognition of impairment charges on government securities.
Next, economist Dr. Patrick Isumin says government will not be able to implement substantial expenditure cuts in the 2023 budget. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has said that the World Bank will be completing a review of government's flagship programs like the Free SHS Initiative and the School Feeding Program. But speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Isumin urged government to minimize the perks of public officials and merge some government agencies with similar mandates to protect the public purse.
We also have to think about, when we talk about the expenditure rationalization, it's not really only about cutting expenditures, but making sure that we are getting value for from public expenses. So we have to ensure that when we spend a cedi of public funds, we are getting the value for its worth for the cedi we spend. I think that is another area we should be looking at, making sure that every project that we do, there's a genuine value for money review to ensure that the public purse is not being misused.
Economist Dr. Patrick Isuming. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISA, is making a case for the electronic transaction levy to be broadened to cover other areas of online businesses. Director of ISA, Professor Peter Korte, in an interview with Joy Business, said the levy can be changed to e-commerce tax with a reduced rate of less than 1% in order to attract many consumers. Here's more from the media budget review by the Institute.
The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research has been reviewing the media budget. It recommends some solutions to government that will address the country's budget deficit, high inflation, and concerns of stagnant growth in the private sector. Professor Peter Korte therefore advised government to take a second look at the electronic transaction levy and broaden its scope to cover e-commerce businesses whilst reducing the rate further.
Businesses or entrepreneurs are operating virtually. Some are operating from their homes. They have advertising, they are raking a lot of sales. So it's about time we move beyond electronic transfers and also look at e-commerce so that we can rake in more revenue. If we do so, we can even go ahead and reduce the e-levy rate whilst we tax more of the e-commerce to make up for the loss.
Also responding to the assertion that the economy has turned around the corner, Professor Korte argued there is more to be done to begin the recovery process.
The point is, if we have turned the corner, then there are many corners we have to turn. We have turned one. There are many corners we have to turn because if you look at the rate of inflation, it is still high comparatively.
Eben Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority has announced the introduction of new excise duties on beverages, which starts from the 1st of September this year. This comes after the Excise Tax Stamp Amendment Act widened the coverage of the excise tax stamp policy to include food juices, all sweetened beverages, e-cigarettes, and e-cigarette liquids. According to the Commissioner of Domestic Tax Revenue Division at the GRA, Edward Jamra, the new excise duties on beverages forms part of the GRA's efforts to improve revenue mobilization.
Today we have learned that some of these things are done to protect the citizenry because the consumption of some of these products have health implications, serious health implications, and tax is one tool that we can all use to correct the consumption or direct the consumption of some of these products. Hence the amendment to the Excise Duty Act, which has been explained to us.
Edward Jamra, Commissioner of Domestic Tax Revenue Division at the GRA. Still on tax matters, tax consultant Francis Timoboy is calling for a collaboration between the Ghana Revenue Authority and local assemblies to collect property tax. The advice comes after concerns raised about the GRA engaging a third party to collect the taxes on behalf of government. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Timoboy said there must be collaboration to enhance efficiency.
The collaboration with the GRA for me was the best in terms of the property rate collection in Ghana. And so the GRA estimated that they had registered over 8.7 million properties, and the revenue that they were projecting to get from that alone is over 1.7 billion Ghana cedis, which is quite good. Because if you look at the performance over the period, take Ayawaso West and places like Legon, which falls under Ayawaso West. The whole internally generated fund for 2022 was just 5.3 million Ghana cedis.
Tax consultant Francis Timoboy there. Now, after struggling with an autoimmune condition for a couple of years, Mariama Abubakar is back on her feet. Eating healthy improved her condition a great deal, and now she is determined to help others stay healthy. That's why she started Simply Green, a startup promoting healthy eating habits. On the Joy Business Van, we bring you the second part of our story on Simply Green.
2020, I saw my health take a nosedive. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition where your immune system attacks you, the host, instead of working together to protect you. And unfortunately, my pain levels were so high, so the medication I was taking was rather increasing my pain.
Out of desperation, Mariama went on a healing journey. She began to research.
And I discovered that food plays an importance in whatever it is I was going through. I had a discussion with my doctors, and I went off with them monitoring my health. I went off the pharmaceutical medication and I started working with food.
Mariama made sure whatever she ate from morning to evening was natural